Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I've got the DJI Mini SE today, and this will be probably the first time that I'll have a proper flight with it. I took it with me when I went to Oregon last weekend, and I did a couple of flights, but I had my family around, so it was a little bit distracting. So I just thought we'd take it just a little bit deeper dive into this guy and see how it flies. We're going to look at the QuickShots and maybe mess around with some of the stuff and just to see what we can do with it. It's fairly windy today. Wind gusts of up to 21 miles an hour. I think sustained winds around 12 miles an hour. Here's what I'm going to tell you. It's breezy, but that's well within the level 5 wind resistance that this drone can handle. So we're in good shape there, or we should be in good shape. I'll also say it's like in the 70s today. It's such a welcome change. We've spent all summer here in Idaho from June on in the high 90s and low 100s. So having a day like today just feels pretty darn good. But enough of that. Let's quit messing around and let's get this little bird in the air and just have a fun flight with it. Hey, okay, we're all hooked up to the drone. I'm going to hit go fly here. And look at that, we've got FPV, and I've got the map up rather than the attitude, the little attitude icon that shows you the attitude of the drone. Maybe we'll switch around between the two. However, the drone is looking good here. Let's go into the safety menu real quick. And yeah, return to home's at 50 meters, that's okay. I've got my max altitude set at 119 meters. That's a little bit below legal. That, you know, that helps me make sure I stay below legal. Now, if I was in an area where there's some mountains and stuff, I might move that up higher just to make sure if you had needed to clear a mountain or a hill or something like that. But the IMU is normal, the compass is normal. Now, I'm going to say the last time I calibrated the compass was when I was in Oregon, but it's not asking for it, so I'm not going to do an unnecessary calibration. I know there's people will give you varying answers on that, whether you should calibrate or not. Typically, most of the time, I let the drone tell me when it wants a calibration, so you know that's probably up to you. But then battery info, I always take a look at that, 4.27 volts, so we're looking good there. One more thing I wanted to check here is I want to go into the About menu and just to show you the firmware package that I have. And 01.01.0000, 4 zeros there. So let's check for updates on that. I don't think there's one, but and it didn't ask for an update, so yeah, checking version, it says your firmware is up to date. I thought we were, so we're good to go there. Let's just go back to camera, double check. Let's format that card just for the fun of it, and we're all formatted. Again, we're in automatic, 2.7K, 30 frames per second. Let's go ahead and start recording now. And yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why we can't take off. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do that on the app. I'm going to get out of the way so you guys can see it on the camera here. And by the way, speaking of cameras, I am using the Osmo Action today. I decided to make it an all DJI day today. So this is with the Osmo Action filming the takeoff here. And hit takeoff on the app, maybe. There we go. Hold that down and boom. And in typical DJI fashion, it just takes off and it's just steady. Now we've got some wind. I see it tilted into the wind a little bit. But you know, like I said, now a big breeze just came up too. The drone handles it just fine. We're in P mode here. Let's bring it on in. Let's bring it up and in just a little. And DJI is one of those kind of drones that, you know, you can be confident bringing it in close like this and not having any problems. And you can see it's moving around just a little bit in the wind, and you can see the drone is tilted, but look at how that gimbal is staying straight. Even as the drone is moving around in the wind, it keeps that camera perfectly steady. So I don't know, that's a pretty good demonstration. I'm going to forego my usual demonstration of the gimbal, and we're just going to do our manual droney right now. Boy, another big wind gust came up. Reverse and up now. We're in P mode. Reverse and up. And this little guy, typical DJI controls. I'm dropping that gimbal down a little bit. It's so smooth. Shoot. And you can see where I'm at in the park here. You know, we still have a lot of smoke, and from forest fires in California, Oregon, and Washington. It's all blowing into Idaho, and we've had some fires here in Idaho as well. So it's kind of a weird time. Sometimes it just feels like the whole western United States is burning. Let's fly it around here. I'm going to go move forward, and let's see. We're about 25 meters high. So this is in P mode. It's kind of going roughly against the wind here, and we're about 4.2 meters per second, something like that. So that's about, you know, 9-10 miles an hour, pretty close. And there it speeds up. Wind calms down, and look at that. It kicks it into gear a little bit. But what I wanted to do here is, and by the way, I am seeing a little bit of a crooked horizon there as it's going into the wind. Just a hint of a crooked horizon there. That's very un-DJI like. Let's move forward here. And I'm going to get that rule of thirds. So often, you know, this is one of the views I show with my drones when I'm out here. That way you guys can kind of compare the quality that you see on the various drones that I fly. You know, if you look back at some of the other videos, you've seen this view before, and you can kind of compare it. So let's stop recording, and let's take a picture here. I'm going to switch to photo mode. And you know, I just don't believe well, in fact, I know I've never taken a picture with this drone. So let's get a picture right here, and let's go back into video mode again. Starting video now, and let's turn around and let's go. There's another view that I always show you. Let's go back to the opposite corner, and we're going to be able to look at the Boise front, and you know, and you can see, you know, in fact you can't see it right now because of all the smoke. So full stick forward again. This is in normal mode, and look at that. We're going a lot faster because the wind is kind of roughly at the back of the drone, about not quite 8 meters. There's 8 meters per second. So that's about 18 miles an hour or so. So let's look around out here. Again, this is a view that I often give you with a number of drones. And, you know, often, you know, you can if in a normal day, you'd see the Boise front out there, but the Boise foothills, etc., you're not going to see them now because all the smoke. Let's stop recording. Let's go back into that camera mode, the still picture mode, photo mode, and let's take a picture. And I'll throw that back up on the screen and go back in and change back to video and starting video. And yeah, so let's turn it around now, and we'll go into just a second here. We'll flip it into sport mode, and we'll see what kind of speeds we can get. And again, this is going to be kind of, I don't know how accurate this is going to be because you know, we've got some wind today. So you know, we're gonna this time we're going to be going into the wind. I'm going to point it pretty much due west here. So right there, and let's flip it into sport mode. So S mode you can see on the screen. And let's go full stick forward. And boy, I just felt the wind come up again. And let's see how fast we can get this guy up to. And you know, it's going into the wind at you know, it was about 9 meters per second, a little over 9 meters per second there for a while now, and it's dropped back. And you know, the drone is up there screaming. I mean, it was right above me there. I'm watching it scream by. So that's pretty good. We got 9.5 meters per second there for a minute. So you know, that's about over 20 miles an hour, 22 miles an hour, something like that. Not bad. Let's turn around the other way, and we'll try that in sport mode and see what we can do. Okay, so we're faced due east now, and the wind will be kind of roughly at the drone's back. Let's kick it full forward, and look at that, it's kicking right up 10 meters per second, 11 meters per second, 12. And boy, that drone is moving. I watched it go right above me there. I don't know if we hit 13 there. Pretty close. I think we just fractionally hit 13 there for a second. So, you know, let's see, that's going to be close to 30 miles an hour. That's going to be about 28, 29 miles an hour, some roughly. So, so not bad. Okay, we are down to 65% battery. So let's quit messing around. Let's bring it in and let's try some of the QuickShots. I don't know if they're any different on this drone than they were on the other one. So there's Cine mode. While we're coming back to me, let's see how fast it goes in Cine mode. So we're up, yeah, you know, about almost 4 meters per second. So that's going to get you a little bit smoother flight. I'm dropping altitude now, slowly bringing the drone into us, and we'll try some of these flight modes out. There we are. Man, it's so cool watching this thing in the air because it just looks so smooth. Okay, let's go back into normal mode, P mode they call it in this version. And then let's go into, we're gonna have to stop recording, stopping now. And we're gonna go back into that menu, click on that little film strip up there, and go into QuickShots. And I hadn't had a chance to look at these QuickShots, so it looks like we've just got 4 of them. So we've got Droney, Rocket, Circle, and Helix, which I believe is the same as the original. I'm sorry, guys, stumbling over my tongue here. I believe it's the same as the original Mavic Mini. Looks the same. So let's go ahead and click on the plus sign that's on me. It recognized a subject, so we're going to click Start. It's a handy little feature. It's a good way for a beginner to learn how to use the drone. And it counts down, and now it's taking off on its Droney. And I selected a 40-meter Droney, so it's going to go out there a ways. And it kind of lost me there a little bit, right? Yeah, once it got a ways away, it kind of lost the subject. But now it's returning to us. And you can see that if you look at the shutter button there, the red X, or the X, white X surrounded by red, it says returning. When that goes back to green, that tells you it's back in its original position. Okay, so the next one down is Rocket, and that one should go right above us. We're going to select 40 meters on that one too. Selecting myself, we're going to hit Start, and it'll give us that same countdown, and let's just see how it does. I suspect this is going to be similar to the original Mini in that these intelligent flight modes always worked better the closer you were to the subject. So it's going right up. And it, you know, it still got us in center of frame, so that's saying something, even though the little green box is gone. But it did keep us in center of frame. So now it'll return again, and it should return to that exact same spot. You know, that's just one of the pleasures about flying a DJI drone, is everything just works like it should. And the drone drops down just like an elevator right in front of me there. And so perfect. Let's kind of adjust it where we're adjust the yaw. And I'm going to point that camera down a little bit so I'm kind of right in the center. And we're going to go click that icon again, the rocket icon, and I'm going to click circle. And yeah, it's already on clockwise, so let's go ahead and stay with that. Click the plus sign, it's got me. And it warns you about obstacle avoidance, and I'm going to warn you too. This drone has no obstacle avoidance. It's going to go sideways. If there's a tree or something in the way, the drone is not going to know it, and it's just going to fly right into it. So that's where you as the user have to be aware of that. So watching the drone, you know, it's tilting into the circle, and one of the things I like about the way DJI does this is it speeds up as it completes the circle. 4.5 meters per second. Yeah, that's pretty good. So then it stopped at its original spot, and we're back again. So heck, let's go the other way just for the fun of it. Let's click that, click it again, and go. Well, I can't get it to go. There we go. It took me a second on the touch screen to get that arrow pointed counterclockwise. So let's hit start. And it's counting down, and it's just going to go the other direction. And I like, there again, it starts off slow, but it doesn't take it long to accelerate and speed up. You know, and in this case, I don't know how far away from me it is. It's probably, well, I mean, distance from where it took off is 17 meters, so that's going to be pretty close. You know, we're about probably 15 meters away from it. So again, what I found out with the intelligent flight modes on the Mini is the closer you are to the drone, the better it works. So we're going to click on that little circle icon again, and then find Helix at the bottom. And Helix is the same way. It gives you both clockwise and counterclockwise. We're going to click that radius up to 40 meters. I want max radius. And obstacle avoidance again is unavailable, so it tells you that. I think that's great. We're going to click start and get the countdown. And what it'll do now is it'll essentially do a corkscrew. So it's going to circle and gain altitude and move away at the same time. I think we started at roughly 6 meters in height. Let's see how high it goes by the time it's done with its corkscrew here, or helix. This is a complex maneuver. Now, as you can see, it's kind of, we're not exactly in center of frame. It gets far enough away that it kind of loses that the center frame. In fact, I'm almost out of the frame now. So then it's done. It was up about 24 meters high, and then look, it points down at us again. So it knew where it started, and it's coming back to its original position. Slowly but surely, it's, you know, you can see it dropping in altitude and coming back to us. That is just so cool. I know some people don't like that. I do. I think it's a great feature. Let's do the opposite direction on that helix this time, and I'm going to try. Well, if I can get, there we go. And I'm going to go back into helix, and I'm going to do a much smaller one this time. Let's do a 25 meter helix, and let's see what that does to keep us in center frame. So I clicked on the plus, let's click start, and this will be counterclockwise. Gives us the countdown. We're about 5 meters high. Let's see how high it ends up. And you know, like I said, at this point, it's keeping us pretty much in center of frame. At what point will it kind of lose us? Yeah, I mean, it's 10 meters high. It's still got us roughly in the center of the frame. There it lost us. Yeah, and it's up about 15 meters high. Will we get completely out of frame? Not quite. So, and then it drops right back to the center. So anyway, it's returning. And so that's what I'm going to tell you is with this drone, you're better off if with these QuickShots, if you keep it closer to you, you're always better off. So let's go ahead and go back into video mode. We are going to start video, and we still have about 31% battery, so I think we should put it in sport mode and just fly around here a little bit. So straight up. So we're getting about 4 meters per second in vertical speed, which is good. I think, you know, some of the fastest drones in vertical flight are, you know, like 5 or 6 meters per second. So for a little mini drone like this, I'd say that's pretty good. I got an idea here. I think we should fly over to the flagpole and see if we can do a little manual orbit. You know, this is the perfect day because the flag is flying in the definitely moving around in the wind here. So let's go into cine mode. There's cine mode. Let me get just a little closer to the flag and drop the gimbal down, and let's see how good I am at doing a manual orbit. And in city mode, it ought to be, it's a little bit easier. And I'm gaining in height here as well. So that's my own manual version of a Helix. Dropping that gimbal down a little bit. Grabbing some more height here. I want to make sure that I clear all those trees there. And let's keep moving around. We've got some mature trees at that house, and I just want to make sure I'm well above them. Pick that gimbal up. Yeah, and it's giving us the low battery warning. We'll let it go into, whoops, there's me screwing up my orbit. We'll let it go into emergency return to home, or low battery return to home, which it will do. Let me pick that camera up, lower it down here a little bit, and we can try out that, see if it ascends to that 50-meter return to home height. Okay, let's continue our orbit here. Yeah, so it gives us that sign there, confirm. We're gonna let it do it on its own. And here it comes. It's coming home, whether we like it or not. And we had an aircraft fly over the park here, but he is way up there, way higher than we are, that's for sure. That's me picking the gimbal up. It's coming back pretty quick at, gosh, about 10.5 meters per second. So 22, 23 miles an hour. Now, this drone does not have precision landing, so likely it's not going to hit that landing pad, but we'll see what it does here. Look at that, it's pretty close. It starts descending here. Look at that, the X is right on the pad. I put it back into P mode. That was me switching it into P mode. So it's coming down. Oh, maybe that must have moved it out of return to home because it stopped. Okay, I'm bringing it down manually. Yeah, when I switched it into P mode, it threw it out of auto return to home and gave us that that landing warning. So, heck, I should have left it in C mode so I could get down on the mat here. But let's or the landing apron, as some drones call it. Yeah, it's saying critically low. I don't know about that. I'm trying to get it right over the top of the pad. Okay, we're gonna hit land. Come on. You know, it won't let me do the manual land, so let's just see how long it goes here before it decides to land. Critically low. I would think at some point here it would just land. Battery power will automatically do the aircraft's mobility. So that is at 6%. There it goes. There I got that landing button. So that I put it in landing mode there. I struggled there getting the drone to go into landing mode. And there we're just a little bit off of the pad, but it did fine. So you saw that on the Osmo Action. It was just barely at the side of the pad, so the wind blew it around a little bit. So we're at 5% battery. Let me stop recording. That's one thing I'm going to say. Remember to stop recording. If for some reason you shut off the drone and forget to stop recording, do not despair. Fire the drone back up. Start just a quick recording. Turn it off. That will close out both files, so you can save a file that way. All right, let me get everything shut down and we'll do a quick conclusion. Hey, so I did a conclusion out in the field to this video, but before I start that, I just thought of a couple other things that I wanted to say. Firstly, when I looked at my flight record, I got 22 minutes out of that flight. So 22 minutes, I think is pretty darn good. You know, we were flying at full throttle most of the time and you know, doing the QuickShots, intelligent flight modes, etc. So I thought that was pretty good. 22 minutes out of a battery that, well, this is its third charge. So I'm thinking that's pretty good. And then secondly, I got to thinking about, okay, what does the Mini SE mean for the marketplace? You know, aside from somebody just looking for a bargain drone, if you were somebody that was just starting a vlog, whatever kind of vlog for YouTube or TikTok or whatever, the Mini SE just represents an outstanding value. It literally, I was thinking, if it could be my only drone, if I didn't have any other drone, I'm trying to think of what things that I couldn't do with that little Mini SE that I do with my other drones. Yeah, there's some tracking and you know, I suppose some time-lapse shots and things like that, panoramas, I suppose, that you wish you know, that are good to have in some of the other drones. But if you're just looking for aerial video and you want to take some good photographs, I'm telling you, the thing is amazing, and the speed that it flies at. So I guess what I'm getting at is, if you're a vlogger and you're just looking for something to do a little bit of aerial video with, along with your vlog and whatever mirrorless camera you happen to be using, or even, quite frankly, an Osmo Action like I'm talking to now, you could put out some quality content at a pretty reasonable price. So anyway, on with the show here. Here's the conclusion I did out in the field. Hey, okay, the DJI Mini SE. Gosh, what a phenomenal little piece of tech for $299 for this little guy. You know, it's been said before by a number of reviewers, but, you know, this, to me, it just makes all those lower priced drones obsolete. I'm just not sure why you would buy an MJX or a Beast drone or even the SJRC F11, which is one of my favorite of the lower priced drones, when you could get this thing for $299. I mean, it's so capable. You saw it in sport mode. It went almost 30 miles an hour. The flight controls are so precise and so perfect. It just works really, really well. And the kind of the frosting on top is the one shots that DJI has put in there, the intelligent flight modes that work very, very well. The only little bit of just a little tiny little thing that I saw is when we were flying west for the first time and we got out in the corner of the park, I did notice just a hint of a crooked horizon. We were flying in, it's a little bit of a crosswind. The wind is kind of blowing northeast. So, you know, could that have affected it? I suppose. Doesn't matter. Other than that, I mean, that's the only thing I can think of on this flight that that I could take any kind of an exception with. Yeah, 299 bucks. Man, oh man, I'm gobsmacked by this little guy. You know, anybody that asks me, even a first timer, somebody that's never flown a drone before, this is the one to get, because they're going to get fantastic video, great pictures, all in this little compact package. I don't know, pretty tough to beat. What else can I say? Oh yeah, I want to touch on the controller a little bit. So I know some people were disappointed that DJI didn't include the new style controller, the bigger controller, the same one that's on the Air 2 and the Air 2S and on the Mini 2. You know, I don't know that that's... I like that controller. Trust me, I like that controller fine. I mean, it's... the main benefit is it puts your mobile device up above the controller rather than below it. And it's got a huge battery on it. You know, you charge that thing up and it's good for like forever, it seems like. But there's some advantages to this guy too. It's smaller and lighter. You got the controller in your hand. It's just very easy to, and you know, if you pinch, you know, then your gimbals just fall, you know, right to hand control sticks. You know, one of the negatives that people complain about, and I was one of them, is the phone down here. And the problem is these arms can get in the way of the touch screen a little bit. So that's a negative. But other than that, I just fine with this controller, and I think most people will be satisfied with it as well, especially at that $299 price point. That just blows my mind. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun flying this little guy around today. So I guess that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I absolutely appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And of course, we'll see you on the next one. All right, bye now. The DJI Mini SE, just a phenomenal piece of tech for 299 bucks. Blows my mind. See you guys later.